All right, so we've all gotten pretty used to AI that can chat with us, write an email, that kind of thing. But today, we're going to dig into something else. What happens when that AI stops just talking and actually starts doing things?
Think about it. Right now, most AI is kind of like a passive tool, right? You give it a prompt, it spits back an answer. But what if it didn't just sit there waiting for your command? That's what's happening now. We're starting to see these new systems that don't just respond, they take initiative. We're talking about AI that can plan, adapt to changes, and see complex jobs through all on its own.
So here's the plan for today. We'll start by looking beyond the chatbot to figure out what this agentic AI thing really is. Then we'll check out some real-world examples of these agents in action. After that, we gotta talk about the rules, the guardrails being built to keep things safe. And we'll wrap up by looking at our role, how society needs to shape these algorithms.
All right, let's get right into it. What exactly makes this new kind of AI such a huge leap forward from what we've seen so far?
Okay, here's a really good way to picture the difference. The generative AI we're all playing with now, it's like having a brilliant research assistant. You ask it to find something, and bam, it brings it back. But agentic AI, that's a whole different ballgame. It's more like an autonomous project manager. You don't give it step-by-step instructions. You just give it a big goal, like, hey, organize a successful marketing campaign. And it just goes. It figures out all the steps, handles the resources, and runs the entire plan from start to finish.
So that brings us to what this stuff really is. The key thing to remember is that it's not about just doing one single thing. It's about understanding a big, broad goal, then creating a whole strategy with multiple steps and actually seeing that plan through. It's like the difference between just following a recipe versus actually inventing a whole new dish from scratch.
So you're probably wondering, how does this actually work? What's going on under the hood? Well, these agents have a few core parts. They've got planning modules to map everything out. They have memory systems so they can actually learn from what they've done and remember what's going on. They use reasoning engines to make choices. And here's the kicker, the really critical part. They can use tools. They can access your calendar, book a flight, or even write and run their own code to get a job done. It's wild.
And there's actually a model for this thought process. It's called the Belief, Desire, Intention Model, or BDI for short. It's pretty cool, actually. First, the agent observes the world around it and updates its beliefs about what's true. Then, based on its goals, its desires, it forms an intention to do something. And finally, it acts. After it acts, it observes what happened, and the whole cycle just starts all over again. It's this constant loop of sensing, thinking, and doing.
Okay, so this isn't just some crazy idea from a research paper. Let's talk about how these agents are already making a real impact out there, in everything from software development to global business.
Yeah, this isn't sci-fi, it's happening right now. For example, take a company like EasyCater. They do corporate catering. Their chief technology officer talks about using AI agents to handle all the messy, complicated stuff. Think about last-minute order changes or super specific dietary requests. Instead of an agent just flagging the problem for a person to fix, the agent just solves it by itself. That frees up the human team to focus on the bigger picture.
But here's where it gets really powerful, when these agents start talking to each other. Just imagine a fully automated supply chain. You've got one agent whose only job is to watch inventory. When stock gets low, it doesn't send an email to a human. No, it sends a direct message to another agent, an ordering agent. That agent then goes out, finds a supplier's agent, negotiates a price, and places the order. The whole process, from noticing low stock to making the purchase, is completely automated.
And this isn't just for supply chains. The applications are popping up everywhere. In retail, you could have an agent that's a true personal shopper, not just recommending stuff, but actually finding the best deal and setting up the delivery. In finance, you have agents working around the clock, analyzing market data and spotting fraud way faster than any person ever could. And in healthcare, we could see them handling tedious admin work or even monitoring a patient's vitals from afar. The possibilities are huge.
Okay, but let's be real. Giving this much power and autonomy to an AI, it brings up some pretty big questions about safety, about control. So what are governments doing about it? How are they trying to build the guardrails for this stuff?
Well, the European Union is really out in front on this with their AI Act. It's a huge deal, the world's first major law for artificial intelligence. And a lot of people think that, just like their big GDPR privacy law, this could end up setting the standard for the rest of the world.
The way the EU is doing it is pretty smart. It's not a one-size-fits-all rule. It's all based on risk. So things they consider an unacceptable risk, like a government social scoring system, are just banned outright. Then you have high-risk things,
like AI that scans resumes for a job. And those have really strict rules about safety and transparency. And then pretty much everything else is left alone to let innovation happen.
Now the US is taking a different approach, at least for now. Instead of creating one big law for everybody, the White House is starting at home. They've issued guidance for how their own government agencies have to use AI. The idea is basically to lead by example and set a high standard for everyone else.
And the focus in the US is all about transparency and making sure a human is still in the loop. If a government agency uses AI that impacts you, they have to prove it's safe, they have to listen to public feedback, and, this is a big one, they have to give you an option to opt out and just talk to a person. It's all about trying to stop algorithmic bias and making sure things are fair.
And all of this leads us to the final, and maybe the most important point of all. The future of agentic AI isn't just going to be written by programmers. It has to be a collaboration, a partnership between the people building it and the society it's supposed to serve.
There's this quote from the AI and Society journal that just nails it. It says we need to flip the script. Instead of having algorithms shape our society, we need our society to shape the algorithms. It means we can't just react after the fact. Our values, what we care about as people, have to be baked into these systems from the very beginning.
So that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? As these AI agents get smarter, more autonomous, and start pursuing these big, complex goals all on their own, how do we make sure they're actually working for us, for our best interests? When the AI can act by itself, who is ultimately in charge? That's something we're all going to have to figure out together.